Assalamu alaikum, hello and welcome. Today we are going to talk about politics. Whether you like it or not, politics is to a great extent about money. It is a big business. In the 1930s, Harold Laswell defined politics as a competition between who gets what, when, and how. Who is to pay taxes? Who is to be taxed? What is the rate of taxation? And so on and so forth. How is the tax going to be used is a question that comes after raising the tax. How the tax has been used is a question again that comes after utilizing the raised funds. The core business of politics in democratic countries revolves around money, revolves around the rate of taxation and the utilization of the collected funds. Since independence, we have witnessed a steady rise in the volume of resources collected by African countries from their citizens. Taxes are compulsory contribution to state revenue. This is a generally known fact. Levied by the government on workers' income and business profits, and sometimes taxes are added to goods and services, and in fact, sometimes on financial transactions. In a nutshell, politics revolves around resources and how those resources will be used. The challenge in Kenya is we politicians do not talk about this subject so much, but instead we talk about places. During our campaigns, we talk about places. We talk about regions. We talk about people and relationships. I come from this region. That is why I'm going for this seat. I come from these people, this community. That's why I'm going for this seat. These people are my people. That is the argument put across from podiums. I'm not denying the fact that places and people need to be developed, but let us get our priorities right. First, we need to talk about raising revenue. How are we going to raise the revenue? Who is going to pay for this revenue? And secondly, once the revenue has been raised, how is this money going to be used? And who is going to benefit? We need to focus on what really matters to the general population, the Halimas and the Wanjikos. Question, very important question that politicians need to ask themselves. What public services should the state provide to its citizens? This is a core question that needs to crop up every time discussions are being held. How much is to be spent on schools? How much is to be spent on healthcare? How much is to be spent on housing? How much is to be spent on food security? How much is to be spent on security? Should, for example, marijuana be legalized? Should young women be allowed to reach a decision to abort? These are questions that politicians need to resolve, ask, discuss. Should, for example, corruption be legalized? Is entrepreneurship given more priority over the environment? If you want to understand how politics and governments are interrelated, please keep it here. We will give you detailed information about how these things work, how politics is related to government, and how money is related to politics and government. I want to give free and solicited advice to the new and upcoming politicians. Times are changing, and so must the new politicians. The new and young politicians must also change. Never peddle politics of personalities, regions, tribes, or clans. In your own right as an upcoming leader, you need to talk about issues. Talk about issues that touch on the lives of ordinary people. For example, the cost of bread, the cost of fuel, the cost of ugali. Talk about these things. Talk about access to healthcare, access to education. Talk about access to employment. These are things that really matter to the ordinary people. Talk about what people care about. Talk about what affects people, their hopes and aspirations. And finally, when you get the chance, when you get elected, make sure you do something about what you say you will do something about. Thank you.